Hello, my name is Joe Cortez, former international boxing referee. Welcome to fairbutfirm.com. I'm here today with Tony Weeks, the referee who just refereed the Canelo Alvarez fight versus Alfredo Angulo this past Saturday, March 8th, here at the MGM Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, Tony, you've had a couple of days to kind of digest of what happened this past Saturday night. Now, the fans were not too pleased with the stoppage of your fight. But let's go back a little bit of when you referee. You've been refereeing for over 15 years in the pros now, and you have over 50 world championship fights under your belt. And one of the great fights I remember of you refereeing was Jose Luis Castillo versus Diego Corrales, fight of the year, and it was a dramatic ending of the fight where you stopped it with that one punch that Jose Luis Castillo took up against the ropes when he was in a concussive episode. You stopped it there. This past Saturday, you did a similar stoppage with that one punch, yet the fans were not happy with the outcome. Can you walk us through the process of that fight?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say that the fans actually thought I stopped the fight on that one punch, and it was accumulation of punches throughout the whole fight. The opening round one, Canelo came out and just started throwing bombs, and Angulo was taking them flush. But what I really noticed was that when Angulo tried to fight back, there was really nothing on his punches. And so with that combination, right off the back, I began to be concerned about what's going on. Even though it was early in the fight, you're still keeping it on the back burner.
Now, you've refereed Angulo on numerous occasions in the past, and you've watched him fight, so have I. And a fighter, when he starts taking those body shots, it kind of saps you out. You're standing there, you're like a shell now because you're taking those blows and you're throwing punches back, but there's nothing behind it. And not only is there nothing behind it, but you also, in your mind, you're thinking, wow, if I open up one shot, he's going to nail me with 3 or 4 more hard ones. So you kind of hold back a lot more. Now, what was going through your mind when it went to the 3rd, 4th round? What was happening at that particular moment?
Well, as I alluded to before, from round 1 to 2, 3, and 4, the same thing was happening. Angulo was taking hard shots from Canelo, and not only head shots, but like you say, body shots. And there was still nothing on his punches. I had went over to the corner, I believe it was the 4th round, and voiced my concern to Angulo and his trainer, Mr. Hunter. And Mr. Hunter replied to me, well, Tony, look, he's a slow starter. Just give him a chance. And I had no problem with it at that point because it was still early in the fight. And like I said, yeah, I've done Angulo's fights before, and I know what he's capable of doing in that ring.
But you didn't see none of that happening in the 5th, 6th round or whatnot. And as you know, as referees, one thing that's always stays in our mind, first of all, we want to stop and think about, there has been like over 5 ring deaths in the last 12 months in boxing, and there's one who's in the rehab right now, the Magomed, a heavyweight from Russia, who's in still bad condition. I mean, I'm sure that goes through our heads before we even get into the ring. We got to think about safety first of the fighters. And when we think about safety first, we're thinking about these fighters like they're our own children. We don't want our children to get hurt seriously. We're in for a sport, but we want to see them come back another day. What was going through your mind the 6th, 7th round at that moment? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, let me say this, regardless of what happened in the past, I'm always safety conscious, first and foremost. Like I say, I started to see no improvement in Angulo, and Canelo continuing to come on with these tremendous shots. And it just seemed a carbon copy of each round prior to that. And at this point, I'm becoming very concerned. So I believe that's when I summons in the doctor to look at him and evaluate him, see his condition. At that time, or at that point in the fight, the doctor looked at Angulo and said, no, he's okay, but still watch him.
Okay, now what happened when you went into the end of the ninth round? That was a crucial round. I mean, Angulo came on a little bit in the eighth round, showed a little flurry of punches. What was going through your mind at that particular moment, the eighth round? Let's go to the eighth round first. What happened there?
Well, yeah, I don't know whether Canelo was tired or he just wanted to take some time off, but he didn't really come on like he did in the previous rounds. So, which allowed Angulo to come on with a flurry of punches, which a lot of them were missing. But even the ones that were landing weren't doing any significant damage to Canelo. And then with that and the crowd, going crazy, and so it made it appear, like it was something more than it was.
Yeah.
But Canelo was never really hurt or phased in that.
Okay, good. So now the ninth round comes about. Here we go back to the same as the previous round, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. He was taking a pounding again in the ninth round. Ninth round, the bell rings. I'm watching from where I was sitting with the press media section. I'm watching, and I see the Virgil Hunter speaking with you. I see the doctor get in there. He's evaluating the condition of the fighter, of Angulo. What was Virgil Hill telling you at that moment? What was the conversation between you and Virgil Hill?
And once again, at the end of that ninth round, went over to the corner. I'm extremely concerned now. And Mr. Hunter approached me and told me that he was going to give Angulo one more round, and if it continued to happen, he was going to stop the fight. While we were having our conversation, the doctor was evaluating Angulo. I approached the doctor, and the doctor informed me that he's taking too much punishment. At the next hard punch, stop the fight.
Good, and you did exactly what the doctor told you. That's what we're trained for. Now, the fans out there don't understand that. We go through seminars couple of times a year with neurologists, doctors to tell us what signs to look for, what is a process. There is a process of us as referees.
Exactly.
Of when do we stop the fight? What signs are we looking for? Tell us some of the steps that we look for as referees.
Well, like you say, you look at the amount of punishment the fighter is taking. You look at can he effectively defend himself, and you look at and what goes along with effectively defending himself. Can he punch back with effectiveness? And all of those were missing. And when you put all of those together, that's a recipe for disaster.
Exactly. So now the 10th rounds commence, and the first couple of seconds nothing is happening, light stuff, but then one solid blow by Canelo. Angulo gets hit with a devastating uppercut. Take us from there.
Yeah. At that point, at the start of the 10th round, my mind was already made up that I'm going to stop this fight. I'm just looking for the opportunity to do so. Canelo threw a flurry of punches, kind of landed a little bit, and I kind of hesitated and stepped back because it wasn't really that devastating. Threw a couple of more flurries, then that one hard uppercut that Angulo never really saw or couldn't see, and his head went back in a violent way, in a very demonstrative type of way, and his eyes rolled back, and that was it.
And this is what the fans don't have the luxury of seeing up close. You're closest to the fighter. You see with the uppercut, the eyes roll back with a devastating blow to the head. We don't want any tragedies in boxing. We've had enough already this year and part of last year. And so, Angulo will come back another day. What words would you like to say to the fans and maybe to Angulo himself in reference to your stoppage of the fight?
Well, first of all, to the fans, like you say, we as referees, we have a protocol. There are steps that we take in evaluating a fighter and looking at a fighter and knowing when to stop and pull that trigger. This particular fight, or fights like this, where it's one-sided, and even though the fighter who's on the losing end is still fighting back, but there's nothing on his punches, is a very tough position for a referee to be in, because you have to look for that opportune moment to stop that fight. You're dealing with fighters, you're dealing with warriors, And Angulo's a warrior, and he's a fighter, and he's a champion. You know, but from what I saw at that point of me stopping the fight, there was nothing left in Angulo, and too many hard shots. You know, the bad outweighed the good, and there was no question that I had to stop the fight.
Okay, very good. And I hope Angulo's watching this and listening to what Tony Weeks is saying. Tony Weeks is very concerned about the fighters' well-being. That's what we're trained for as referees.
Exactly.
And come back another day. You know, anything else you want to say to wrap it up?
First of all, I want to thank everybody for their concerns about me and their well wishes and ensure me that I did the right thing. The commission, my fellow referees, everybody who's been positive. As referees, we don't sugarcoat each other. If there's something in there that we've done wrong or we could have done better, we tell each other.
Exactly.
Because it's not about us, it's about the fighters.
Right.
It's about the safety of the fighters. As referees, when we accept this job, we accept what comes with it. This is a very thankless job. We're not there to make friends. Everybody likes to be liked, or at least be appreciated, but that's the nature of our job. This is what we accept when we take this job. So if fans react in the way that they do, or fighters react in the way that they do, it's not good. It hurts really when something like that happens, because especially when you're trying to, save a guy's life or just save a guy from any further punishment. But we are professionals, and we have to do what we have to do, and we are hired by the commission to do a job, or sanction a body to do a job, and they expect us to uphold that job.
Exactly. One thing the fans can say that is Angulo was safe from taking more unnecessary punishment, and on top of that, we treat these fighters like they're our sons, and we want to make sure they can come back another day. Tony, you're a great referee. I would have done the same thing you did that night, Saturday night. Good luck. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you too.